attention that this session is going to be recorded. So if you are interested in receiving a copy of this recording, make sure that you send in the chat box the information that I shared with you right now, your name, company name and website if applicable, city, and if possible, an email address, and we would be more than happy to send you a copy of this recording. I have my colleague and interim director, Israel, on the line as well, and he's going to be monitoring all of your questions. Through this webinar, we're going to go ahead and go through the presentation, but we're going to make sure that we're going to be leaving enough time at the end to address all of your questions and to be able to answer as many questions as we can. So we are the Orange County Small Business Development Center. And for those of you who are not very familiar with us, we are a program that's partially funded by the SBA, or the Small Business Administration. We offer no cost or free business consulting to entrepreneurs and small business owners in Orange County. We are one of thousands of offices that are located across the nation. We work very hard on assisting business owners in different areas that they need, starting with access to capital, including loans and line of credits, marketing, business plans, international trade, accounting, starting a business. In addition to our one-on-one consulting, we also offer seminars and workshops. And through the chat box, we're going to be sharing a link to our website where you can keep an eye on the upcoming training and workshops, and hopefully you'll be able to sign up for something that will help you start to grow and expand your business. For those of you who are already in business, we would like to bring to your attention that there was a new state law that took effect on January 1st, 2017, requiring all employers with 10 or more employees to file electronically. And as of starting January 2018, everyone is going to have to comply with this law. We're going to be sending a link through the chat box to a website that will help you learn additional information about the e-file and e-pay mandate for employers. So keep your eye on the chat box, please. Also, we would like to share with you that we are on Facebook. So for up-to-the-minute information and workshops, articles, and small business topics, make sure that you like our page. You will find us on facebook.com/OCSBDC. At this point, I would like to take the opportunity to have our interim director, Israel Serna, introduce himself.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. I just wanted to take this opportunity to, first of all, welcome you to our webinar series kickoff. So Manal is actually going to be leading us in our first webinar of this type. And if you like what you hear today, and if you like the topic that we're presenting on, we highly encourage that you provide feedback so that we can then provide some similar webinars online, and then also introduce you to some new topics. So I want to also make sure that you do take advantage of the chat feature, where I will be answering questions as they come up. And then also, if you have any questions specifically to the services that we offer, I'd be happy to answer them in the chat box. And with that, I do want to thank Manal for being our speaker today, and thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you, Israel. So to give you all a quick summary about my background, I've been with the Orange County Small Business Development Center for 7 years now. My background is digital marketing and the online world, and I do work with small business owners and entrepreneurs to make sure that they have an effective and a strong and a successful online presence, helping them getting started with their e-commerce, or even devising and putting in place digital marketing strategies for them, including social media and search engine optimization. I also, in addition to doing what I do through the SBDC, I have my own digital marketing company, and I am an adjunct faculty at both Concordia and Brandman universities. Through the Orange County Small Business Development Center, I've been fortunate to be able to help small business owners getting started, expanding their businesses, access to finance, business plan, and marketing strategies as well. As Israel mentioned earlier, and he sent it in the chat box, we would love for you to start a conversation online about this webinar. And if you do so, our hashtag is hashtag grow your business online. Grow your biz online. We're going to be monitoring those hopefully, and we're going to be able to share some of your comments and take a look at your comments as well. We would love to hear from you through Twitter and Facebook. All right, so I know we have a big group joining us today, and some of you might already be in business while others are looking to get started and launch their business. This webinar is going to discuss the basics, starting with what you need to do to start a business and going through the different steps all the way into getting established online and the different online tools that you can use in order to be able to establish a strong and a very effective online presence. So we're going to talk about why online, what do you need to do your homework and be prepared, the different business structures that are available out there and how you can decide what would be a best fit for you, how you can plan to have a successful and a very effective website, and what are the different digital marketing strategies that you can put in place in order to drive traffic to your website and in order for your customers to find you. So there are many reasons why somebody wants to start an online business or even expand their brick and mortar presence into an online business. But the one biggest reason is to be able to gain control of your life. Your business will be functioning on your behalf 24/7. It will be available for your customers to place orders, and you will have more flexibility in your time management. Of course, operating only an online business also comes with the advantage of experiencing lower overhead, and hopefully that will result with higher margins through your sales. You'll be able to operate that business from anywhere in the world, and you'll be able to reach a global target market. Globalizing your website is a very effective way in order for you to go beyond the boundaries of the United States or even the local boundaries and be able to reach customers at a global level in the Middle East and Asia, Europe. There are some technical issues that you would need to be aware of and technical capabilities that you would need to build on your website to be able to establish such presence. I'm going to touch on those briefly when we get to this section where we're going to talk about website and building an effective website. The one key element to keep in mind is that in the United States, at a local level in California, or even globally, the online market of internet users is continuously increasing and growing, and it's only going to be on the rise. So if you're not online yet, this is definitely a good opportunity for you to start considering going online and make sure that you have some kind of an online presence to allow your customers to find you. So always when we're working with our customers at the OC SBDC and they come to us with an idea to either start a business or expand a current business, the first question to them is, what are you trying to accomplish? And who is really your buyer? And who's your competition? These might sound like very basic questions, but the answer of, okay, I have the product for everyone and I have the service and the solution for everyone does not really help you stand out as a business and as a business owner. Therefore, we always advise our clients to consider taking a look at the first step before they even start or consider expanding. If they're just getting started, we always advise them to go through the process of putting in place a business plan. Now, we're not talking a 70-page or an 80-page business plan. We're talking a very simple outline that will help them address basic questions, so they make sure that the idea that's in their head can actually translate into a successful business. Many individuals try to resist that idea because they don't want to type, they don't want to spend the time, but in all honesty, all of the business owners who go through these steps see more successful results, and they also are able to avoid some pitfalls, because they will be able to basically identify some challenges that they haven't thought about when that idea is in their mind. So simple questions we start with: what are you trying to sell? Is it a physical product that you need to manufacture? Is it a digital product? Are you selling a service? If you are planning to carry inventory and you're operating from home, do you have the space to store that inventory? Otherwise, are you gonna sign up for a storage service? What kind of cost, facility, how are they gonna be able to support you? And what about your selling? Are you trying to sell only locally in California or in Southern California, or maybe just in Orange County? Or are you also trying to reach out beyond by selling nationally and globally? These are questions that will help you not only in be able to figure out on what are the next steps for you, but hopefully to avoid some pitfalls that will be costly for you and will also hinder your progress. So if you are creating the product yourself, and this is going to be a handmade product, what kind of capacity do you have, right? Are you going to be able to handle 10 orders a day, 5 orders a day, or 100 orders a day? Will you be able to keep up with the demand? We all know that that first impression we get from the customer is the best impression. That's going to be your guarantee for that customer to keep coming back to you, become a repeat client, but also help spread the word to their network of friends, family, and connections. So making sure that you are able to fulfill the orders and you are able to keep up with the demand is very important. I could share a very short story with you. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the program Shark Tank. It airs on TV usually on Fridays, and one of many of the business owners who get on that show, unfortunately, they go on TV unprepared and unready to be able to fulfill the orders. In many cases, they receive a huge hits on their website, and then the website would collapse, or they receive orders more than they can handle, and then they end up having customers wait 6, 7, 8, or 10 weeks to receive their order. In an age where there is Amazon and Amazon Prime, and customers are getting spoiled by receiving orders within 2 hours or overnight, you can't afford to have customers wait for 6 to 8 weeks. So being prepared and doing your homework ahead of time will help you address these questions and be able to identify whether or not your capacity, I should say, on handling the demand that will come your way. Also, in terms of shipping, it's very important for you to be able to identify a partner that will assist with your cost. Is it the USPS? Is it UPS? Is it FedEx? Is it a local delivery company that will be able to help you deliver your physical product to your customers? What are their requirements? What kind of minimum orders do they expect from you? All of these will also play a major role in your cost. So talking about the business plan and understanding who your perfect buyer is and the persona of that buyer, that's also part of you defining your niche and defining who's going to be your avid fan, the person who's going to not only buy your product, but they're going to come back to buy it over and over and over again. And then they're going to help you spread the word by posting on social media and tagging you, by telling their friends, telling their family, telling their colleagues and everyone, by tweeting about the amazing experience they've had with you in terms of customer service, purchase process, etc., etc. Now, it's very important for you to understand how you can differentiate yourself from the competition and from what's out there. Basically, know what your competition is good at and try to identify what is your unique selling proposition, or what we call in marketing 101 USP. What is the key differentiator that will make me as a buyer come to you first, that will make me look for you through Google and seek you and find your products? So, and then after I do that, basically stay with you and keep on buying your products and help you spread the word. If your product, if you look at your product and your service and you think, well, you know what, everyone can buy this, the female, the male, the 18-year-old, the 65-year-old, that's okay. It's okay to think from that perspective. But the important thing is to find who is your primary buyer. Who is that person who would be willing to come to you, who would be willing to buy from you, and at the same time, who would keep on buying from you? That would be your niche. That would be your primary buyer. And from there, you'll be able to expand into secondary markets and so on. Make sure that your purchase process, be it online or by phone, is a very user-friendly process. And it does not make me, as a buyer, click 20 times before I get to that checkout. Many of you, I would assume, have experienced purchasing through Amazon. They make it so easy where if I have an account and I'm all set up with them, I can buy a product with one click. You need to think from your perspective as a business owner and having online presence, how can you compete with that? How can you make me as a customer browse and breathe quickly through the purchasing process without having to click 20 times to get there? And we're going to talk more about that when we get to the website section. Many of our clients, we recommend that they start selling at a lower scale, at a smaller scale, I should say. It might be, if you are selling a product, it might be a very good idea for you, part of your R&D and part of your figuring out who is your perfect and primary buyer, to tap into your local markets. Many of our clients who sell food items like tea or coffee or maybe cupcakes, they get started at the local food markets, and they go to the farmers markets. They have a table, they have a booth, they get feedback from the buyers, they make notes of the reaction that the buyer is experiencing when they touch, taste, feel the product, and based on that, they adjust their product before they go into the market full force. That's basically kind of their focus group before they go online and before they decide to hit the full market and full force. That being said, one of the amazing experiences you can experience at flea markets or farmers market is the interaction with the clients and listening and making notes of the words they use describing your product as they are experiencing it, buying it, touching it, tasting it. These words, believe it or not, are the keywords that your prospective buyer, online buyer, is gonna use to find you online. So there is something that I'm gonna address in the upcoming slides that talks that's known as search engine optimization, or SEO. Some of you might be familiar with it, others might not. We're not gonna tackle this topic fully because that by itself is probably a 3-day training, but that's where we would come in through the one-on-one consultation, and we will be able to help you at no cost to you if you are ready and you are at that point. But the reason I'm bringing this up is that search engine optimization and integrating specific keywords and specific description of products within your website is what's going to allow your clients and your prospective buyers to find you online. So understanding what kind of language your customers will be using when they experience your product and when you engage with them at a consignment store or at a flea market is very important. There are two sets of keywords. There are the keywords that are technical and relate only to your industry, and then there are, which we call jargon keywords, and then there are the keywords that the customers use to find you online. So having that face-to-face engagement with the client would definitely help you build on that list, and based on that also build on your website content including your product's description to be found online. You can also test your products through websites like eBay and Craigslist. Just open an individual account and see if you can sell these products and what kind of pricing is acceptable in the marketplace. So all of these steps will help you hone in on identifying who is your perfect buyer, how much they are willing to pay, and how is the process, how satisfied they are with the process and with the product. So we get to the, right now, to the step where you need to name your business, which happens to be, believe it or not, a very complicated step for small business owners. They get stuck on something, they try to move on, they're not able to move on, and you could spend months trying to decide what is the best name for your business. So to keep the formula simple and straightforward, remember that it's very important for the name of your business to be easy to be recalled. It needs to be easy to be spelled. It needs to convey what your business does. And then you can implement different fictitious business names within your application, and we're going to talk about business structure in the next slides. But remember that name quality, your name, availability, and domain name. So when you are putting in place or you're trying to come up with a business name, you need to remember that it's very important to consider consistency and for you to have consistent presence throughout your online presence. So when you come up with a name, make sure that you go on platforms like bluehost.com or godaddy.com and then search to find out if that name is available as a domain name. So I know many of these hosting companies are trying to sell you on the other extensions other than .com and .net. As of today, the .com is still the top when it comes to search engine optimization and when it comes to legitimacy of your website. So take that as part of your consideration when you're coming up with a name before you file for your entity and before you decide on the final business name. Now, you can always, if you decide to file for a corporation, for example, with the Secretary of State, you can always submit or have your company name based on your last name. For example, my last name is Risha, so my company could be Risha Corp. But then I can add a DBA or doing business as on that same application. And let's say I'm selling flowers, wedding flowers, and the company name would be Orange County Wedding Flowers. So you do have that option, and you can have multiple DBAs under one company. Just again, do your research before you get stuck and before you file for a specific entity so that you don't have to do it again and then incur additional costs. So that will lead us into the different business structures. Now, I would like to preface by saying we at the Orange County Small Business Development Center are not lawyers, so we cannot give you any legal advice. That being said, we have amazing workshops, and as a matter of fact, we have one coming up this month that's titled The Legal Do's and Don'ts, where we align ourselves with amazing attorneys that are willing to put themselves through those workshops, come present in front of you and answer any questions you have. That workshop, I believe, is for a very minimal fee of $25. And, you know, Israel just sent in the chat box a link to our training calendar. You can click on that link, ocsbdc.org/training, and then you will have access to all of our workshops, and hopefully you will find something who can help you and assist you. And so in order to decide which way you want to go in terms of entity formation, there are different elements to take into consideration. As I said, I'm not a lawyer, our team are not attorneys, so we can't tell you go this way versus that way. But what you need to understand is that the first two choices, which are the sole prop and the general partnerships, are basically based on your social security number, on you as an individual, and you're gonna basically be liable. You won't be protected by the company or shielded by the company. You will be liable for any lawsuit or if a client comes after you. That being said, many of the clients start in that phase, and then as their business grow, they transfer into an LLC or a corporation. Now, what you need to understand is once you file for an LLC or a corporation, you are immediately required to submit a check for $800 to the State Board of Equalization in order that would give you the privilege to do business in California. After you complete your filing, they basically give you about 4 months or so to submit that first payment. But from that point on, every April 15th, you are required to cut that check and send it, regardless if you sell, regardless if you have revenue, regardless if you hire people, regardless of whatever. So these are the things that you would need to discuss with your attorney, and in order to know what you're getting yourself into. I always tell you know, our clients and also our workshop attendees, you really have 3 best friends when you are starting a business. You have an attorney who will be there looking out for you and help you draft any agreements and contracts you need and give you guidance on business structure. A CPA who can help you understand what are your obligations towards the government in terms of payments, taxes, because unfortunately, you know, telling the government, oh, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't know, is not an excuse. You will still get penalized. And then last but not least, your Orange County Small Business Development Center advisor. Really, the only interest we have in mind is to be available to you, to give you assistance and make sure that you're not only establishing your business, but you're also growing and expanding at the pace that you would like to see your business grow. This is a quick summary of what the expectations are in terms of costs for each of the entities and the business structures. Again, those of you who already sent their contact information in the group chat, you will be receiving a copy of this recording. If you haven't done so already and you are interested, please share your contact information and we will send you a copy within the next 24 to 48 hours. So moving on, after you file for the business and you're all set with either the government or your local county, it's time for you to establish your online presence. Now, as you file for the business and you are set on the name, the first step for you to do is to go on platforms like GoDaddy.com or Bluehost.com, and there are tons of other platforms. And you can secure your domain name immediately and purchase that www.orangecountyweddingflowers.com. I'm good, I have that domain name, I make sure everything is set. But when I do that, the next step would also be for you to go on social media and make sure that you grab that name so you are consistent all across the board. You might use social media, you might not use social media, you might use only Facebook or Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. Regardless, making sure that you are being consistent and you have the name that you would like to use for your branding purposes is an immediate step that you should take into consideration as you are planning the filing for your company. And I know these are additional steps and minor steps, but these are things that could make a big difference in your marketing strategy, especially from a digital perspective. Now, in addition to registering or buying your domain name, the next step would be choosing a web hosting service. This could be a cost of anywhere from $80 a year to $5 a month, or maybe $3 a month. It depends. If you're trying to go with a private web hosting service and they want to charge you $500 a year, that should set a flag. When you are looking for a web hosting service, make sure that they have live customer support. You can pick up the phone and reach them when you need help. Make sure that they do have a backup service and they are protecting your website and they back up every day just in case the website, they get hacked or their servers get hacked. And you want to make sure that their cost also fits within your cost structure. Now, if your plan is to sell online, you would need also to invest into an e-commerce software or consider a platform that comes with that feature. And I'm going to be covering this in the next slide. You would need to set yourself up with a merchant account in order to accept payments online. If you feel that you are novice at this and you're overwhelmed and you don't want to commit to a merchant account service and commit to fees, what you can do is you can set yourself up with PayPal. Within 2 to 3 days, you will have a PayPal account through which you'll be able to accept payments. And PayPal will also provide you or your web developer with a buy now button or click here to buy that will basically make sure to all of your transactions will go into your PayPal account. That account will also be linked to your bank account, and you'll be able to transfer money on an as-needed basis to your bank account from your PayPal. We do see the questions and we are making notes of your questions. Just as a reminder for those of you who joined us later in the presentation, we are allocating enough time for Q&A towards the end of this presentation, and I will do my best to address all of your questions. All right, so going back to the e-commerce solutions, you can basically invest in an all-inclusive e-commerce website where you hire a web development company to build you your own e-commerce platforms. This could be a pricey project, and when I say pricey, we're talking $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, and it depends on how many products you have, and it depends also on the software that the web development company will be building for you. You can look into maybe general e-commerce services. Platforms like Yahoo, Shopify, Volusion, they come with e-commerce features. You can customize your website to look exactly the way you want it, with your logo, with your colors, with your look and feel, with your content, all the pages. And it comes also with the e-commerce or the shopping cart feature, I should say. Now, there is a monthly fee to services like this, and that fee could start at like $35 or $39 a month. Again, the more products you have, it could be more expensive, but this is a solution that will not cost you $15,000 or $20,000 upfront before you knowing whether or not your company will make it and will reach the goals that you have in mind. You can consider Amazon. It's also a great platform. Their process could get complicated, especially if you sign up for their FBA service and you become an approved seller where they are shipping on your behalf. This is a totally separate and different topic that could require weeks of training, believe it or not, because with Amazon, you can't pick up the phone and talk to their customer service. You can only depend on emails. They can penalize you if your packaging does not meet the requirement 100%. And at a small business, you cannot afford to be penalized. You need every dollar to help sustain and grow your business. You can look into eBay, not only testing it from an individual account perspective, but also setting up a store. Again, there is a monthly fee that comes along with that, but platforms like eBay and Amazon, they charge you because they know they can attract customers and because they are highly trafficked websites. So they have the traffic, and that's what you want. You want platforms where customers and buyers will be able to find you. For specifically handmade products and only handmade products, you may want to look into Etsy. Etsy specializes as an online platform, e-commerce solution that specializes only in handmade products. Some business owners try to fool the system or trick the system by integrating a handmade with a non-handmade product. They will eventually pick up on that and they will shut down your store. But if your product is handmade and you are an artist, or you do, I don't know, hair accessories, you do jewelry, this is definitely a platform to look into. The cost of this platform is very affordable. Just keep in mind that all of the platforms you see out there, especially more specifically Amazon, eBay, and Etsy, they all are going to try to sell you on their advertising package, or what they call sponsored products. If any of you uses Amazon, you might recall seeing as part of your search, seeing some, you know, when you search, let's say for wedding flowers or for wedding cake topper, the first 1 or 2 items listed in there, they'll be highlighted as sponsors, which means these companies are actually paying to be listed at the top of the search in these platforms. All right, so it's very important to plan your website appearance and content, have a very straightforward, clear, and direct conversation with your web developer. Keep it simple, easy to navigate. If I find your website and I get on your website, don't make me go through the maze and haze of figuring out where to go. Make it easy, make it clear, create categories, and then keep me as a user in mind. You have that website because you want people to purchase from it, right? So keep that in mind when you are designing it. Elements like Flash, for example, that used to be popular 6, 7, 8 years ago, are a big hindrance to the website. People don't need them anymore. Heavy graphics, if you are trying to sell overseas, are elements like to go global and globalize your website, are also elements that you don't want to invest in. You want to keep your website simple. It should load quickly, because what you need to remember is the internet overseas, like for example in the Middle East, is much slower than here. Make sure that your website is mobile friendly, because majority of customers do their searches either through their iPhones or cell phones or on their tablets. So whichever platform you decide to go with and design frame you decide to go with, make sure that you have that conversation with your web developer, confirming that your website will adjust based on the device used for search purposes. Now, beyond the website, we have a website, it's published, it's out there. We go to www.ocweddingflowers.com and the website looks amazing. But then we don't know if anybody is finding the website. We don't know if people are looking. We don't know if it's getting picked up. We're not doing anything else to drive traffic to that website. This is where the steps, this is where you need to take a very important steps beyond the website to attract and retain website visitors that will hopefully go through the sales funnel and will transition from being just leads to actually turning into buyers. There are the SEO, which is the search engine optimization I mentioned earlier. There's social media that you can use. And then there is email marketing, only to name a few digital marketing initiatives and tools that you can use to drive traffic to that website. For search engine optimization, whichever web development company you decide to hire or work with, make sure that they are integrating on the back end of the website the basic elements that the search engines, especially Google, look for. There are elements that are called the meta title, meta keywords, and meta descriptions. And again, we don't have enough time to go into details on this, but this is where we can come in and help you on advice when it comes to these elements through the OC SBDC or through one of our upcoming workshops. Image tagging with specific keywords that you need. The URL extension that's aligned with the actual page content. All of these are search engine optimization elements that Google takes into consideration when trying to index your website and bringing it up in searches. There are different levels of search engine optimization. There's the local, regional, and the organic SEO. All of them come with different levels of commitment and cost, and each one of them will answer to your specific need. If all you need is to be found in the Santa Ana or the Orange County area, then a local SEO plan would work for you. It will get you to pop up on the Google map when people go and they search for OC wedding flowers. The regional would be a more expanded area, maybe Southern California, maybe Inland Empire, Orange County, and LA. The organic search would basically bring you up in the searches on the first page, hopefully at a national level. There are directory submissions that could be done, and then there's the Google ads, which are also known as pay-per-click, which could turn very costly. And again, you would choose which tool to use or which tactic to use based on what you are trying to accomplish. As for social media, everyone wanted to jump on that bandwagon, and they were very excited about social media. But jumping on that bandwagon without knowing where your customers are, where your buyers are, defeats the purpose. You're not going to see any results. You won't be able to drive traffic to your website or even increase brand awareness unless you are on platforms where your buyers are. So look into the different demographics and users for each of these platforms and decide based on that. There are the organic packages where you can go and post yourself, hopefully with a plan, and then they have the paid ads. Always plan ahead using editorial calendars. You can use scheduling platforms like Hootsuite, for example. I'm sending it in the Dropbox and the chat box for you. You can go to hootsuite.com and schedule your posts, and always make sure that you keep an eye on the analytics, because doing all these activities and not knowing what the outcomes are kind of defeats the purpose. One of the tools that you need to make sure are installed on your website is the Google Analytics, because it helps give you direction in terms of where traffic is coming from and how much traffic you are receiving. Google has a great suite of free tools, and I'm typing the Google Analytics for you. It's free. All you need is a Gmail account, and then they have the keyword planning that you can use to help you also identify the keywords you want to be found for online. And then you have email marketing. There are tons of service providers out there. Some of them are for a cost, others for free. The point of this is for you to stay on top of mind of your buyers, of your existing customers. I personally recommend against buying lists and trying to spam people. Look into the CAN-SPAM Act of 2003 that actually prohibits you from adding people automatically to your mailing list and basically sending them emails. Customers and your email list target, they need to opt in to join your email list. I always advise my clients in email marketing and also social media to follow the 80-20 rule, where keeping 80% of your content to be informational, educational, fun, added value content, and 20% could be the promotional part. And of course, keep your eye on the analytics and the performance reports on each of these tools. So where do you start? Set a goal. What are you trying to accomplish? Set a budget. I already mentioned Google Analytics. Facebook has its own insights. Same with Twitter, has its own analytics. Hootsuite, also their paid plans, comes with a Hootsuite analytics feature where you can pull reports and be able to identify if what you're doing is working or not, if you need to pivot, change, and adjust based on these results. So our part of the presentation ended right now. I know some of you sent questions, so I'm gonna have our interim director Israel join me right now back in the conversation, and we're gonna go through your questions one by one, and hopefully be able to address them all. Israel?
Hi, Manal. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. Let me go through the questions real quick. A lot of just comments on wanting to make sure that we captured their need or desire to want to get a copy of the recording. So just make sure that we have made a note of everybody who's requested a copy of the recording. We will make sure that we do that. No specific questions just yet, but I want to encourage people to take this opportunity right now while we were online to ask your questions.
Actually, Israel, I received a couple of private questions. They were addressed directly to me versus sending them. So let me start by the latest question I received. So I received a question from Liao. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, asking if we can talk about how to set up a real-time customer service. So there are actually companies that specialize in that specific service. Some of them are local or in the United States, where others are overseas. It's going to depend on the type of customer service you are trying to offer, and also what you're trying to sell. So I know that that's not very specific, but unless I understand what your business is about, and hopefully I'll be able to do that through one-on-one consultation efforts with you, we'll be able to basically guide you to the right solution. I have a question, two questions actually, from Tinocon. The one question is, do I apply sale or resale permit or both? You do need a reseller permit if you are selling products, and that will go through basically the state. It's through the government. So if you do a sole prop when you are at a county level only, you still need to apply for a reseller permit. I'm not sure. I think the sale and the reseller permit are the same because they both allow you to buy and sell at the same time. The other question you had was, what email service is free? Is it MailChimp? MailChimp is a free email service up to 2,000 emails. Another email service, and I'm sending it in the chat box, it's called SparkPost. Let me make sure I send it to everyone to make sure that everyone can see it. SparkPost.com, they actually have up to 100,000 free emails. Let me see.
There's a question, Manal, about the $800 charge, if that changes, if the business grows.
No, that $800 is basically you're paying for the privilege of doing business in the state of California. This has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with how much revenue you bring in. So luckily, it does not change, it does not increase, but if you don't bring in any sales, you are still required to pay it. Just received a question from Lydia. I would like to know more about licenses permits to sell online physical products. Well, you do need a reseller permit, that's for sure. In terms of licenses, it depends what kind of product, if it's a food-related product or not. And also, if you are operating from a specific city, you need to check with your city to see what kind of licenses they require you to apply for. Regardless if you're operating from home or not, or even if you are operating from home, I should say, some cities do require that you apply for a business license for the privilege of doing business within their city limit. And some of them are at no cost. For example, the city of Irvine, there is no cost whatsoever. But just the fact that your business address is within the city of Irvine boundaries, you are required to basically pay them, not pay them, I would say obtain a business license with them. Some of the cities do basically require you to do it for a specific cost. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with all the questions as I'm answering.
I have Lydia, a question for you.
Hold on, let me just add a little bit to Lydia. Lydia, if you are offering the core services and also you're gonna be having clients where you're gonna be servicing them at their residence and go to different cities, for specific industries, they would require you to have a license in every city you're going to be operating with or you're going to be having clients with. So just check with the city, and they give you up to 60 days to apply for a license before, just to make sure that you acquire a client, and hopefully you'll be able to have more than one client. Go ahead, Israel, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we have a question asking, how do we market a website selling a bond or a security offering?
Okay, that's an SEC related question, I believe. So you would need to comply with the SEC requirements. I personally am not familiar with it, but I believe John on our team might be able to help specifically with these questions. And there's also limitation on the social media paid ads for these specific products that you are selling. So again, as long as you're meeting the requirements, you'll be able to market, but I know that they limit you on how much you can say and how much you can offer there.
Okay, one more question, or actually two questions that I'm going to combine. Somebody's asking, instead of paying $20,000 for a website, what about Wix or Squarespace? And then somebody's asking for your recommendation on free websites.
Okay, so to answer the question about the $20,000 for a website, yeah, absolutely. These are some of the options. Actually, Wix was on my list. Squarespace is definitely a good platform. Shopify, Volusion, and you can definitely utilize Square to basically be your POS and credit card transaction. And the other website is, the other question, Israel, you said was for free website?
Right, recommendations on other free resources for websites.
Okay, so WordPress could be free up to a certain point. What you need to be WordPress, it's let me type it in the chat box. Oh, here it is. Thank you, Israel. So the issue with free websites is that they come free with a caveat, right? They will be publishing ads that you really don't want to see on your website. Also, the other thing, for example, with WordPress, your domain name won't be www.ocweddingflowers.com. It will be www.wordpress.com. I'm sorry, wordpress.ocweddingflowers.com. So you basically have to route your main domain name to that domain name because you really don't want to promote such a long URL. So again, they are free up to a certain point. You might be able to get away with it up until a certain point, but looking into Wix, Shopify, Squarespace, Volusion could definitely be a good solution. And you can even look into the eBay stores or getting set up with Amazon as well.
Yeah, one thing that a comment just, Manal, as you were talking about providing a wow experience, one of the things that I do want to emphasize is that, as a small business owner, you have to understand that you're able to adapt and move a lot quicker than these larger corporations that you are, essentially competing with. But on top of that, being able to be a small business owner comes with the advantage that you can build a one-on-one relationship with these customers. And so it really does come back to the wow experience and how you are providing a different service from your competitors. So as you think about your business, please make sure that you do not forget about the most important thing, which is what kind of service am I going to be providing, and what is going to be my wow factor so that people come back to me. And you'll find that as soon as people fall in love with you and your product, it is much easier to get them to become repeat customers than to go after new business all the time. Manal?
Yes, I'm still
here.
Okay,
there's another question. Is there a company specializing in app development for a restaurant that you know of?
Not off the top of my not right off the top of my head. Here's a suggestion to all of you. If you are looking for service providers, the first place to start is your actual local community. So reach out to your local city or local chamber of commerce and ask for their members list, and then you'll be able to basically funnel through the service providers they have and hopefully to align yourself with somebody who will be able to help you. Please stay away from sending your or allocating your budget overseas. It's very difficult for people overseas to understand our culture right here locally, not only in the United States, not only in California, also in Orange County. They might have all the good intentions to basically set up a great website for you, but once that website gets installed, you're going to face hiccups and you might end up spending 12 months before you get a website. So work with the local people, work with the local companies. Those are people you can basically meet with and talk to face to face. Any other questions, Israel?
No, a lot of people just saying thank you for the webinar, very informative, and I agree, Manal. This is fantastic information that you've just provided. That's pretty much it with the questions. If there's any other last minute questions, now's your chance to ask it while we're on the line.
Hold on. We have a question, I believe, from about Joomla and Drupal. They are definitely good platforms, but they come with a cost. So it depends on the web development company. And they come with a cost, Yusuf. And I have a question from Julian. Could you repeat what is the domain name that WordPress? Oh, you can go to wordpress.com. Let me type that in the chat box, and you can basically create an account there. And you know, on the slide on your screen right now, you can see you know, a list of upcoming workshops. One of them is actually coming up next week that talks about specifically how you can build a powerful small business website. And then we have another one that talks about business plan, and then the Start and Grow Your Online Business workshop. These are excellent opportunities for you to interact not only with the presenter, but also to network and be able to basically, you know, get your answers, your questions answered. And then I have one more question from Julian. I was asking for the one that you have reroute. Basically, Julian, what I was saying is that your main domain name, let's assume your business is called ocweddingflowers.com, that www.ocweddingflowers.com can be routed to www.wordpress.ocweddingflowers.com. And these are technical questions and technical points that your web development company will be able to help you with. And of course, we'll be able to advise you on that as well through the OC SPDC. You're welcome. Okay, so also I would like to mention that if you feel that you don't need any additional training and you are ready for our one-on-one consulting, please give us a call at the phone number you see on the screen, 714-564-5200. You would need to basically go through a quick assessment so we can gauge where you are, and we will be able to line you up with the consultant that will fit your industry and what you are trying to accomplish for your business. Yes, the OC SPDC services are free at no cost to you. As I mentioned earlier, we are funded and supported partially by the SBA in addition to other resource partners. Also, I think I saw a question earlier about access to finance. It's actually one of the key services that we offer. We can assist you with basically access to capital if you need a loan or a line of credit in order to launch, grow, and expand your business. Israel just sent in the chat box our contact information. Feel free to send us an email. For all those of you who already shared with us their contact information and their email address, you should be receiving a copy of this recording. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you were able to pick on some, you know, get some of your questions answered and also learn new things. And hopefully we will have the opportunity to see you soon at our upcoming workshops and to work with you one-on-one as well. Thank you. Yes, you can email me more questions, of course.